Okay, I have started setting up my pillow. I have added the 4 temporary pins to the top, and I have my GIMP thread ready to go. You need to add 2 pairs to the temporary pin labeled 1. And these can just hang around each other. You will need to add 1 pair to pin 2, 1 pair to pin 3, and 2 pair to pin 4. On this one, I have added additional thread to the pair. Sorry, that is not showing up. Let me back this up. Here we go. I've added additional to this pair, which is actually here. This will be the start of my worker when I am working it. And sorry, that one did not belong straddling 2 pins. Okay. Now let me back up a little bit and focus more here. The GIMP. The way I put the GIMP on is it under the right hand bobbin. So this one will go over, this one will go under, over, under. I'm just weaving it in so that it's under every other bobbin and pulling it all the way to the top. Okay, now it is not necessary to twist the pairs initially because they will rest on the GIMP and there is not a need for them to twist above the pin. So I'm going to take first pair and I'm going to work a whole stitch pin in the pinhole underneath number 4 and close with a whole stitch. And as you can see, my worker pair is now full. I'm going to whole stitch through the next pair. Pin in the hole underneath number 3 and close with a whole stitch. Again, a whole stitch, pin in the hole underneath number 2 and close with a whole stitch. To do a linen through this pair. And then I am going to do a whole stitch with the last pair. And I'm going to pin after 4. So there's my 4. And I'm pinning in the hole underneath number 1. Normally, when you do a pin after 4, you give the outside pair an extra twist. Because I'm using a GIMP, and I need to work the GIMP in, on the right side, I put it between the two bobbins, the outside one all the way in, and there's my twist. And this is enough that I don't need to do an extra twist. Okay, now all of these will have a twist on them, and I'm going to do half stitch across, on the last pair here. I'm going to put my GIMP in the middle, drop this one, have the two exchange, and then I'm going to cross or twist with this one and do a whole stitch. And pin after 4 in the next pinhole. Here. Now at this point, I need to release my temporary pins and pull the loops down. So that I get a nice edge. I see a loop up in there I need to find. And there's the GIMP. Here's the loop I'm needing to remove. I think it will be, where are you? All right, sometimes they slide right out, and there we go. There it is. Sometimes they don't. All right, back to working there's my pin after 4, and I work half stitch across. There's my outside pair where I'm going to do a whole stitch and pin after 4. While I'm over here, I'm going to go ahead and drop this one in between and cross that one all the way to the inside, and that will pick up the GIMP. I'm going to half stitch across, I'm going to add the GIMP to my outside pair and work a whole stitch. And after 4, tighten everything up. I will continue working half stitches down until I reach this pin before I start the linen stem. Okay, as you can see, I have tilted my pillow a little bit, and I'm ready to go on the last run across. Again, pin after 4. Now, I will say that it is very important at this point to make sure that you get your GAMP accounted for and added to every stitch going into this corner. I'm going to go ahead and work the half stitch across one more time, and this will take me to the pinhole that actually starts the stem. And after 4 into pinhole number 1. Okay, now the instructions state that when I'm working the stem, I think just going to work I'm going to open up my pins here between 1 and 2. And this is where I'm going to throw out because I don't want to take it up too far. And I'm going to throw out a pair that comes from underneath. I'm not sure you can see that very well. Let's see if I can get it down closer. So this one is coming underneath. This one is going over. And I want the ones underneath. Okay. There's no right or wrong on this one. It's whichever 2 bobbins that you think you can do away with the easiest. So I'm going to take this one. It is a slightly fuller bobbin and lay it out. And then this one, my 2 choices are these 2. And I'm going to use this one because it has more thread. Okay. So now I have my GAMP on this side, my outside pair, 2 pairs in the center, my worker, and the outside pair and the GAMP. These are the passives for the linen stitch. Okay. This was worked as a whole stitch. I'm going to keep the twist in. I'm going to work a linen stitch, the linen stitch. I'm going to twist my worker, make sure the GAMP, and work a whole stitch. This is in pin after 4 in pin 2. Okay. Work linen stitch across the 2 pairs in the center, twist, and a whole stitch. This is where I'm going to add my GAMP. Just as long as when it goes up, it stays in a nice, neat line. Okay. The pin in number 3. And work the linen stitch through 2 pair, twist. Here I'm going to make sure my GAMP is in there, work the whole stitch, pin after 4, sorry, that was 2 pins, into pinhole 4. Space the passive out. Now I'm going to continue working up the stem until I get to pinhole 13, and then we will start again. All right, I have reached pin 13. Now I'm going to continue to 14, the linen, twist, full stitch, pin into 14, between 14 and 15, I need to work the 2 center pairs as one. So I'm going to treat this as one pair, or one bobbin, and this back up. Okay, I think you can see all the bobbins now. Those are the gimps, outside pairs. Worker, no, outside pair, worker, and the 2 centers. And I'm going to treat these as one bobbin. So I'm going to go cross, twist, cross with just one linen stitch there. This will close this down and make it tighter. There's my twist, my whole stitch, and pin in 15. Okay. Sorry, pin after 4. Move that on the outside. Okay. Now you can see in the middle here, this is the pinhole that I will use to start my leaf. So the leaf will go from this pinhole to this pinhole. But I just wanted to point out that it was there, and you don't need to use it just yet. Okay. When I go back, I'm again going to treat each of these as one bobbin. So it would be cross, twist, and cross. And again, that just makes them nice and tight. There's my twist, my whole stitch, pin in 16, again, treat these as one. There's my linen, and there's my number 17 pin. Instead of pinning into it just yet, I'm going to wait. I need, move it over here. I need 5 bobbins to make my leaf. I'll need 1 on each side, a worker, and 2 in the middle to create a thicker vein. But I don't necessarily need the fullest bobbins over here. And I need to take care of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work these 3 bobbins to this side of the pillow, to the right side of the pillow. I'm going to go ahead and treat these again as one. That moves the outside worker over here. And now I have the gimp. And I'm going to actually work it between every bobbin. to help tie it in. So basically now I have all of these on the right side of the number 17 pin. And I only need 5 over here. And I would like to remove the ones with the most thread still on them. I won't need them all for the leaf. So I'm going to there's no hard fast rule on this. So it's just making it work. All right, so I'm going to pin at 17. These 4 up here, and then the rest of them down here. Okay. I only need 5 bobbins. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't need these 3. So I'm actually just going to work them back over here. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't need this one. So I'm going to, there's not enough thread on it to work the leaf. So I'm just going to work it back to get it to the number 17 pin so that everything is up here and easier to tie off when I'm finished. Okay, I'm going to rotate the pillow. Need to work a linen stitch to start this leaf. So for right now, I'm going to treat this as the vein. So that's a linen stitch. Put a pin in the starting hole. Okay. I'm going to tie these and make these the vein. This will be my worker. This is my outside, and these will be the vein. In order to handle the thread easier, I'm going to take it completely off of the bobbin, the one that was so short, and I'm going to wind it onto the other bobbin. You can do this multiple ways. I have done it where I just held the 2 bobbins together and work them as one, but I have found that this method keeps the threads together and tight easier. Okay. There are the actual 4 bobbins that I will use to make my leaf. A trick I had seen on YouTube some years ago was using 2 pins just inside the outside pairs to help keep them locked in a fixed position. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go. What I did is I went under the vein and back over the top so that when I start, it goes underneath and over the outside pair. under the vein, over and then under the outside pair. And I pull that up tight against the pin. I'm going to pull the camera down. Hopefully it will focus on me. Let's see if I can get it to focus better. It looks a little fuzzy to me, but maybe that won't stop you from seeing what I'm doing. So I have gone over the vein. I'm going to go under the outside pair and then over, under the vein, over the top of the outside pair and under the bottom. And I'm going to hold the outside pairs very tight and work my worker up into the pin. Over the vein, under and over the outside pair, under the vein, over and under the outside pair, over the vein, under and over the outside pair. And I'm tensioning on each side, because if you don't tension on a leaf this way, sometimes it's difficult to get the leaf nice and tight. Once it gets down about there, you can start tensioning every other side, and it will work fine. You will notice that I'm going straight out and not toward the actual pinhole. I do this because if I was going at an angle, my thread would be interfering and wanting to wrap around these pins. So in order to not have to deal with that, I'm making the leaf come out to the side. Okay. The leaf can be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch long. There's no real set distance, and the pinholes are there as guidelines more than actual. Has to be right there. And I know I'm doing this fairly quick, and to me that looks fuzzy, so I apologize. Okay, now I've got it at pretty much the widest that I want it. So I'm going to pull my pins. There's under and over, under the vein, under, over, and now I'm just going to hold and start tightening as I come down. And that will close my leaf. Also, at about this point, I want to point out that if you pick up the two outside pair or bobbins and work them up, that leaf will tighten up. And then you can continue to work. As you can see, I'm now getting down to a point. Again, I'm going to pick them up and work them up. Now you'll see that there's my pinhole. I'm right at it. Let's see. Under, there was over and under. And I want this to come back to the third position. And I'm going to put a pin in the pinhole. And I'm going to work one last let-in stitch to complete the leaf. Okay. Now, since I need to tie this off, I'm going to pick a pair, and it really doesn't matter which pair or which bobbin. I'm going to pull it over to the left, run the bobbin underneath the other 3 threads, pull it tight and work it up to the pin and knot. I'm going to do that again. And I do it anywhere between 3 and 5. It gives me a nice secure tail. There we go. Then I'm going to cut these off of my pillow. I'm going to leave a tail on these because I like the look of having the longer tail on my note. Going to turn the pillow back so that now I'm going to tie off these bobbins. And I'm going to do that exactly the same way. I'm going to pick a bobbin. This one doesn't have much on it. Underneath all threads, up close to the pin, and my bobbin just came off. So in this case, I'm going to go to the right, left, over the threads, and I'm going to reach in there and grab it, pull it up, snug it tight, and again several times. I think I mentioned to begin with, I do starch my notes. So in this case, I'm going to cut these with a small tail until after they are starched. And I'm going to trim these. Oh, can't see those. I'm going to trim these that I threw out earlier. I'm still going to leave quite a bit there. I want to be able to hold them when I snip them after they are starched. And that is how I work the musical eighth note. If you have any questions, I encourage you to contact me, and I will answer any questions that you have. I appreciate you taking the time to work the notes for us for the convention, and hope to see you there. Thank you.